Live. It's Sunday, July 14, 2024. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. We celebrate 25 years of SpongeBob SquarePants. We celebrate Despicable Me 4 and animation still doing well at the box office. We'll get into all of that and why Fly Me to the Moon underperformed this weekend. We'll talk about that and the overperformance of Longlegs starring Nicolas Cage, which is already breaking records for Neon. Thanks for being here. Send in your questions and your comments. Number one for the weekend, Despicable Me 4, which added $44.7 million. It's at 211.1 for Universal and Illumination. It's already the highest grossing movie of the year for Universal. It passes Kung Fu Panda 4 to pull that off. It's down just 20% from the total of Despicable Me 3 back in 2017, which totaled 264.6 for Universal. So this is definitely going to pass that. The question is, are we going to get to the 300 million plus of what some of the other Minions and Despicable Me movies did? The Minions film from 2015 did 336, and then about 368, 369 each for Despicable Me 2 from back in 2013, and Minions: The Rise of Gru from 2022. Will we get that high? We're still 150 million away, but I think we're going to hit 300 million, and we'll see how high Despicable Me 4 can get. But 211.1 after about 10, 12 days is not bad for Despicable Me 4. Number two this weekend is a surprise. It's Longlegs. Some people were amping up their predictions over the last couple days because of the word of mouth, the anticipation, the buzz on Longlegs, which opened to $22.6 million this weekend. That is a record for Neon. That shatters the record for Neon. Neon's previous big winner was earlier this year, Immaculate, which opened to $5.3 million, the Sydney Sweeney horror movie. Now this horror movie featuring Nicolas Cage with 22.6 is just incredible. The buzz on it really strong. Neon now already with this has their third biggest movie ever. It passes, I believe, Ferrari to make that happen. It's only behind Parasite and I, Tonya. Now, I, Tonya, which is an incredible movie, totaled $30 million for Neon back in 2017. Won Allison Janney the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Parasite 2019, of course, went on to win Best Picture at the Oscars and totaled $53.4 million. Because people wanted to see it multiple times. It kept expanding to more theaters nationwide. You have to go see this movie, Parasite. It's unbelievable, and it is. 2019 was a great year for Neon. They had Parasite. They had Clemency, which should have won Alfre Woodard the Oscar. Yeah, Renee Zellweger was good in Judy, but my gosh, Alfre Woodard in Clemency. And then my number one movie of 2019, Wild Rose, which is a powerhouse film with a star-making performance from Jessie Buckley. Parasite was my number two for the year. Clemency, I think I had at number 5. But to me, when I looked at Wild Rose and Parasite, it was a tough call. But to me, Wild Rose just had the emotion that I got a lot of emotion out of Parasite as well. But that final song, No Place Like Home, Glasgow, that strength, that emotion, Jessie Buckley, and there's a lot going on in that movie. That made it the number one for me for that year. But what a year for Neon. So the question is, can Longlegs get to the 53.4 million of Parasite? It depends. The reactions to Longlegs, which I haven't seen yet, mixed. So if the audience reaction is mixed, it could have a decent sized drop for next weekend. It could go down to just $7 or $8 million next weekend, which would then prevent it probably from reaching the 53 million of Parasite. But it's going to pass I, Tonya. It's going to be number 2 no matter what. And Neon is thrilled today. They are just overjoyed. Usually Neon likes to release their numbers early. They waited until after Disney released the numbers for Inside Out 2, which added 20.8 million this weekend. It's at 572.6. They waited to see if they could make it the number 2 movie, Longlegs, and they did. So Longlegs, a strong number 2. Inside Out 2, number 3, just a couple million away from passing the Super Mario Brothers movie to become the second biggest animated movie of all time domestically. Still, $608.6 million for Incredibles 2 back in 2018 is the goal, so it needs another $36 million. I think Inside Out 2 will make another $36 million to become the new biggest animated movie of all time. And we'll see if Despicable Me 4 ends up on that top 10 chart. But wow, Disney is just thrilled. It's up to $1.35 billion worldwide, which is incredible. And it's breaking records. It's becoming the top grossing movie of all time in several countries. So yeah, it's just doing amazing numbers. Number 4 for the weekend is A Quiet Place Day 1, which added 11.8 million. It's at 116.2 for Paramount. It passes If to become the biggest movie of the year so far for Paramount. It's down 27.5% from the total of A Quiet Place Part 2, which was 160.2 million. So you're looking at another $44 million. It's not going to do that. It's not. Even if it does another 7 million, then maybe another 4 and another 2.5, it's going to get to about 130 something. It's not going to get to the 160 unless it has strong legs over the next few weeks. I just don't see that happening. I see the horror fans going to some of these other movies. I see older audiences going to hopefully Fly Me to the Moon. We'll talk about that in a second. Twisters, Deadpool and Wolverine's going to make so much money. And then the Shyamalan movie Trap is out, and Blake Lively's film is out. It Ends With Us. That's in the middle of August. So I think A Quiet Place Day 1, while at least it made more than 10 million here in its third weekend, is not the strength of what the first two Quiet Place movies were. Yes, it's made over 100 million. Yes, it's Paramount's biggest film of the year so far. But it's not going to get to what the other two did. So we'll see how the Quiet Place franchise continues. Through the Lens, hey Jackson, seeing Longlegs tomorrow. Very excited. Have you seen it yet? I have not seen Longlegs yet. I saw a different movie on Friday that I'm glad I did, a film called Touch. This is one of the best movies of the year so far, best acted, directed, edited. It is a powerful drama with some romance, a movie about memories, a movie about missing loved ones. It's based on a novel. Excellent film, Touch, from Focus Features. It made this weekend just $470,000, but it's not in a lot of theaters. It's only in 316 theaters, so a per-screen average of $1,500, which isn't terrible. But this is a film I think people are going to discover on at-home viewing, and at least Focus Features gave it a theatrical release. It's very good. It's moving. It's nicely paced. The back and forth structure, we've seen it so many times, but both sides of it are very interesting. The past and the present for the main characters involved and the other characters we see. Touch. I highly recommend you see Touch. I also highly recommend Fly Me to the Moon. Now, it's not a perfect movie. I only like about 80% of it. But when it's good, it's good. And when it's not so great, which is some of the subplots, it's not so great. But Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum do have good chemistry, do keep you engaged in what's going on in the film. Woody Harrelson, I don't love the character he plays, but gosh, just his emotions and his inflections remind me of how good of an actor Woody Harrelson can be. And one of these years, he's got to win an Academy Award. He's just, he is unique in acting. Fly Me to the Moon only opened at $10 million this weekend. What happened? So it was the Regal Monday Mystery movie almost 2 weeks ago, which is when I saw it on July 1. Good audience reaction. People were there who remember watching the moon landing on TV in 1969. We're coming up on 45 years since then, or 55 years. My math today. It is something people remember and will not want to forget ever. And I think Fly Me to the Moon, what happened here was, yes, there was some marketing, but I think the trailers were not great. The movie is better than the trailers. And maybe just people weren't interested in this. Clearly, Longlegs overperformed and may have taken some of the audience away, but Longlegs skewed younger than Fly Me to the Moon. Fly Me to the Moon, I think, is skewing older. It is, if you grew up in the space race age. A lot of older audiences like Scarlett Johansson. They've watched her on screen for 20, 25 years. A lot of older moviegoers like Channing Tatum as well. It's a Ray Romano. It's a good story. Not perfect, but it's got charm. It kind of won me over by the end because you have a good enough time with it. It's enjoyable enough. But I think it's the movie that, I don't know, maybe people just aren't rushing out to see. Now, when I came out of the movie on July 1, a thought occurred to me of, remember 2 summers ago with Sony, and Where the Crawdads Sing, which opened to 17 million but totaled 90 because the word of mouth was very good. It skewed older, and it was something older audiences could go to that wasn't a crazy action movie or an animated film for the rest of summer 2022, that entire second half. And so I thought coming out of Fly Me to the Moon, this could actually play the same way. This could open to about 17 and total 90. Well, because it's only open to 10, I don't think we're getting to 90 unless we have an anyone but you situation. But I really think this is going to skew older than anyone but you did. But maybe the drops will only be slight. Maybe just down to 7 million next weekend, and then down to 5, and then down to 4. Maybe you're talking about a movie that could push $40 million. But if it gets more than $40 million, Sony's going to call that a success, even though they and Apple are going to lose some money on this because it cost a lot. So it's too bad. It's a good film. It's a quality film. And I recommend you see Fly Me to the Moon. I recommend Touch a little more, but go see Fly Me to the Moon. Support it because it is worth your time. Yes, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes, but it's one of those movies that once you realize about 10 minutes in, okay, this is like a journey movie. This, you get those feelings when you watch some of these movies that even though going in there 2 hours and 12 minutes, you go, why is this movie going to be so long? Oh, now I know why. It's going to take its time. It's going to take you on a journey, and you have to experience it in full, and that's why Fly Me to the Moon is 2 hours and 12 minutes. Could it have been a little shorter? Yes. But it's a journey movie. You go along with the journey. Quiet Place Day One is pretty great to me. Very touching, surprisingly, says Through the Lens. And Scott Stallion Lights, have you seen Kill? Indian action movie that I think will be a future classic. That is what my colleague Mike Sargent on the Too Fast, Two Films podcast, he agrees with you, Scott, that Kill is a classic. I have not seen it yet. I can't get to every movie. I have seen the new My Spy film, which comes out on Prime Video on Thursday. My review is embargoed until Wednesday. My Spy, The Eternal City, which is the sequel to the 2020 movie. Dave Bautista's back. Chloe Coleman, a lot of other cast members, some new cast members, but I cannot share my opinion until Wednesday, but it premieres Thursday on Prime Video, but look for my thoughts on social media on Wednesday. So yeah, I've seen a bunch of movies. I want to see Sing Sing soon. I'm going to see Twisters this week, obviously the big movie coming out, which is going to be #1 next weekend. I mean, Twisters has got to make 50, 60 million plus. It'll definitely beat the third weekend of Despicable Me 4, so Twisters will be your new #1, and I'm looking forward to Twisters. I hope it's good. Let's go through the rest of the box office briefly. Next up, after Fly Me to the Moon, I think is Bad Boys Ride or Die, which had 4.4 million. It's at 184.9, down 9.5% from the 204.4 total of Bad Boys for Life from 2020. And as I wrote the other day, it's one of the 10 biggest Columbia Pictures non-Spider-Man and non-Jumanji movies of this century. It's number 10. Bad Boys for Life is number 6. Sony's going to want another one of these. Also at the box office this weekend, 2.1 million for Maxine, big drop. Down to 2.1, it's at 11.8, which ties X and beats Pearl when it comes to this trilogy for A24, but it's not going to make total much more than what X did, which was 11.8 million. Another 2.4 for Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1, which is up to 27 million domestically. Warner Brothers would have probably liked to see this at least do 3 times its open, which was 11 million, but it probably won't get to 33. I think Horizon Chapter 2 is going to come out for Christmas. There's a window there for older audiences needing something over Christmas to New Year's, that stretch. I think that's where Warner Brothers puts Horizon Chapter 2. We do not have the money yet on a film called Indian 2, but it's probably going to be about $2.5 million. Sound of Hope, The Story of Possum Trot, added 1.3. It's at 9.8 for Angel Studios. The Lion King re-released at about 1.1 million for Disney this weekend. Not great. And I mentioned Touch. Got to mention Thelma, which added 415,000. It's at 7.7. It is now the second biggest Magnolia Pictures movie of all time, only behind the RBG documentary. Thelma, with small drops over these last few weeks, it had a 2.2 million open and already is at 7.7. That is pretty good. This week, as well as the return of Judge Steve Harvey, which I'm looking forward to. Also, the new Exploding Kittens animated series is available on Netflix. My conversation with the creators is at lcj.podbean.com and animationscoop.com. And a film called Widow Cliquot is also opening in select theaters, but the big movie obviously is going to be Twisters. Robbie, love Too Fast, Two Films. Thank you, Robbie. And he also asks, is there another series you would consider doing a podcast about in the style of the Back to You podcast? That is so unique, the Back to You podcast. And it may not be over. It may not be over. The door is always open. We had the late Fred Willard on. We had James Burrows on. Many other great guests. The door is open. Hopefully, we get Kelsey Grammer or Ty Burrell or Josh Gad or Patricia Heaton or some of the other makers of the show. The door is open for another episode of the Back to You podcast. We will see. Do I do another series like that? Back to You is unique. It's one of a kind. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see. Pete Crooks, Thelma was so entertaining and touching. I wanted to like it a lot more. I think June Squibb is better than the material in Thelma. It's a film that I think that has major story problems. If you got the emotion out of it, great. But I couldn't quite get there. I wanted to. I couldn't quite get there. Do want to mention happy 25 years to SpongeBob. Technically, the show premiered May 1st, 99. Nickelodeon loves celebrating in July, which is great. The Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards was last night. Congratulations to Sony Pictures Animation, which picks up another win for favorite animated movie for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And when you look at the entire award season, Spider-Man won so much, but The Boy and the Heron won the Golden Globe and the BAFTA and the Academy Award and just one or two other major prizes. Spider-Verse took a bunch of other technical award wins for visuals and sound and all those groups, as well as Critics' Choice and the Annie Awards. But Boy and the Heron, and now Kids' Choice, but Boy and the Heron took the Academy Award. What an interesting award season. Yeah, Fred Willard was amazing. Met him in person and then did the conversation for the Back to You podcast. So yes, the door is always open. We will see what happens. And I will see you next time for another episode of LCJ Live. We'll talk about Twister's box office and preview just how big Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be. Thanks for watching here on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/lightscamerajackson, the website, lights-camera-jackson.com. Follow me on X, Twitter, whatever it's called. It's at LCJ Reviews. And Instagram at lightscamjackson. Thanks for being here on LCJ Live. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good week. Stay well. Bye-bye.